You probably don't know that there's a new Volkswagen out that doesn't look like a Volkswagen. It's got everything that people who like the bug like. So if you happen to see a good-looking Volkswagen, don't panic.
All right, everybody, so today I got a real treat for you. I'm over here at Type 34 Heaven at Lee Hedges' place. And not only do we have Zorba the Ghia, we've got the oldest Type 34 known, but we've also got Pedro's tribute to the early convertible, the prototype convertibles that were never sold, a 1962 convertible. The most accurate recreation of the convertible to date. The amount of work that's gone into this car is extensive. Just the glass, the top, all those things have been custom made. And we're going to hear about it today on this show. Go ahead.
My name is Pedro Sainz, and I'm going to show you my 1962 Cabriolet prototype replica.
So Pedro, this car is a car that was built as a prototype. This is a tribute to one of the prototype vehicles that no longer exists. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And what year did they make the prototype convertible?
They started the plans in 1959. It was at the show, the VW show in Germany.
So the prototype of this car, they built a prototype for the Frankfurt Auto Show in 1961. They displayed, when they unveiled the Type 3 line, there was the squareback, notchback, and the Type 34 coupe, and they had a prototype of the convertible option as well, correct?
That's correct.
And so this car is the one that's in the brochures, the one that they've advertised in, because they had sales literature, they had everything for these cars, but they never went into production.
That's correct.
And so this, the ones that they did make, the handful that they recalled, brought back to the factory and maybe repurposed them as 63 convertibles?
Yes. So there were a lot of issues on the body, and I know in fact a few from underneath of the pan that I know the latest picture that I saw they add some more support. I know that they add some more stuff that we don't even know yet because they don't really reveal anything. There's no pictures of the engine of the prototype. There's no pictures of nothing. All they know is just the outside of the prototype. If you notice, they don't even have the top on.
Right, the top, and some people theorize that the top was maybe in the early photos, it wasn't finished or completed at the time, possibly?
Yes, that is really, really possible.
And so to build this car, there's a substantial amount of work. You had to first find an early chassis 62.
Yes, because I needed to feel like I'm actually doing the correct year of the car. This is an early 62, which is in May, and so still a 62. And this one came from Canada.
Was this car rusted when you got it? Was it fairly solid? What, did it have a roof on it? What was the deciding factor? Or did it start with like, I have to start with an early chassis number to build a prototype tribute car?
Well, before that, we have to go back just a little bit more because I started with some really tough completing some coupes. So I was at a time that I say, well, I need more challenge. And that challenge is, okay, I was in the either I recreate the fastback Type 34,
right,
or I go with the convertible,
right.
So before I answer your question, I have to go back a little. So let me start with this. When I was planning, I decided to make the convertible. I saw these brochure of the 62. Lee Hedges was the one that, and well, he's guilty. Let's put it that way. He showed me this picture and I said, you know what? This is what I'm going to do. It doesn't exist, as we already talked about. And I go, I got to do this.
Right.
But I got to find my 62. So I saw this ad And I said, okay, all right, there's a 62. And a lot of people, it was for sale for a while because nobody wanted it was so rusty. It was leaves through.
So this car was pretty rusted when you got it.
Yes, yes. Even to take the car out, they had to cut all the leaf from underneath because it didn't have a pan.
So the vegetation was growing into the chassis of the car.
Yes, yes. I have a picture that shows coming through the windows.
Oh, wow.
And through the outside. And
it was in where? In Canada?
it was in Canada. The coolest about this, that when I decide to do this, first I study it for a year. I'm getting all the info that I needed because once I start my projects, it's a non-stop.
Right.
I just keep going forward. That's something I always say. Just keep going forward. If I can't find it, I will make it. That's how I work. I got the ad and I actually called the owner, Steve Rada.
And it was still for sale after?
It was still for sale, yes. He said, I'm interested in the car. And he goes like, are you sure? Have you seen the condition? I said, no, don't worry about the condition. I'll just go ahead and buy it. But then the pandemic came. So
right.
the car was actually bought. And I never had the car. So it took 2 years until they opened borders. And then they got the car. Since I already decided, I had those 2 years, I thought it was 1 year, but these 2 years, I was having a plan. That was my A plan. Already, by the time I had the car, all my upholstery was done.
Really?
The engine was done. All the rims, all my parts, I gathered everything as I could because this is a 1 year only parts.
Right.
So it took me 2 years to get all these parts, and I was already ready to install. They were all chrome, they were all painted.
So when you got the car, the chassis you were going to put it on was done? Or you used the original chassis?
I used the original chassis.
And
But I already had the pans from
halves
Colombia, yeah.
Walk me through some of the things that make this unique specifically to 62.
This is like if the car doesn't exist, even myself, until I got to the Type 34s, I didn't even know the convertible exists. You know, I really thank for the media, for the internet, that now we know these cars exist. But let me tell you something really funny. Before I committed, because I commit myself.
Yeah.
And when I commit myself, there's no budget. There is no limit what I can spend. All I want to do is just finish the car and have the car that I want. So I don't keep track what I spend, and I can't, because that's not making me keep going forward. Because if you start thinking about money, you will stop at some point. You're gonna get scared.
What was the hardest part to find for this car?
I had a custom made because it doesn't even exist.
Yeah.
Let's put it that way. Will be the pull for the front hood.
The front hood pull?
Yes.
Is it specific to
Yes.
cabriolet only?
Yes. Yes.
Really?
And it's a combination of a Type 14 pull convertible,
right,
which I use that. And you remember the Type 14, they're held by 2 screws from the top, correct? Yeah. Well, I had to plane all that. I had to grind it off. And I will show you pictures. There's actually bracket it goes across to bolt to the side.
Walk me around some of the stuff. So when they show the prototypes on these cars, in some of the later prototypes, this chrome strip you said comes all the way up to the front here?
Yes, 1963 prototypes. This goes all the way to the front.
Now, is the badging specific? This is just 62 badging, or is this specific to the convertible?
All the coupes, 1962 emblems for the coupe only come on the right side.
Right.
Since there were only the pictures, we found out that all the prototypes, convertibles, they have that Kamann emblem on the left side, because all these pictures that you've seen, they were always taken by the driver's side.
Right.
Until there was this little picture came out from out of nowhere that was showing the same prototype on the right side, and we saw this emblem again. So now we learned that the prototype 1962 has the emblem on both sides. That was something that was one of my challenges. I had to find 2 original Kamann Ghia scripts.
Now, how hard are those scripts to find?
They are hard.
And if you find one of the, because that's 62 only.
Yes.
And if you find the screw, they didn't use it on any other Ghia
No,
products?
not even the 1963 prototypes.
And what what do you have to pay for a script like that if you can find those today?
A friend of mine, I got it for $100, and I had to chrome it again, and I paid an extra $100 to do it. And the chrome guy was so afraid of
Breaking it?
No, well, afraid of chrome it, and I lied to them. I told them, you know what, this is a $500 emblem. So since they know me, they're my friends, so they did really carefully.
Yeah.
They did both of them.
Now, walk me through, let's take a look at the inside. Let's open up the door real quick so I can just take a look at the inside. Now, you custom make all the interior yourself. Is that right? All the seat upholstery.
Yes.
And this car, you custom made the top yourself, all of the panels, basically all the pieces in here of upholstery you made. Now, this is another thing. If you remember with our podcast with Lee Hedges, us early 62 has the top seat release right there, and it's more of a square top of the seat.
That's correct.
So even the frame itself is unique to this car, to 62.
That's correct, because the rail of the seat, they're not both in the pan.
Right.
This is like the Type 3s. They have one on the tunnel and
Right.
one on the floor. So you can't combine seats from a 63 to 62.
Okay.
It is a specific.
So later they moved the seat rails to the pan halves.
Yes.
And gave you a little more room between the seats, because I know on the later Type 34s, the space in here is a lot tighter because they've moved the seat over like an inch, I think.
That's correct.
Yeah. So now you had to custom make the top on this, which is an incredible amount of work. Let's take a look at real quick at that at the hood prop that you did for this. So, and because all the convertibles, the Kamann convertibles had the locking hood release.
That's correct.
So that you couldn't open the hood. Now this is the one that you had custom made on this car?
Yes.
So that's the custom hood release that you made, that you started with a Type 14 hood release and then had to custom modify this like you spoke about earlier. And then the horn ring is accessory.
And that's original too.
This is original.
How can I show you?
Are
the only way you can tell this is an original,
Uh-huh.
this is not the $99 one.
So this is an original
Yes.
horn ring.
And I will show you how, without taking it apart.
How do you tell the difference?
If you look at the back part,
Uh-huh.
they have some relief cuts.
So relief cuts. The back of this
Yes.
indicate that's original.
Yes.
And do they
these
feel-
are about $1,500.
Are they a bit more sturdy than the reproductions?
That I haven't figured that out.
And now the prototype had no radio as well, right?
That's correct.
Now, any reason why it didn't have a radio, or it was just the last thing that, just
That-
all the photographs show no radio?
The photographs show no radio, and
And-
I wanted to do the same.
Is the steering wheel an NOS wheel?
No,
Reproduction wheel?
it's a reproduction.
The dash pads,
It's original,
original. Unrestored?
unrestored.
Wow, those are incredible.
Yes, there's some flaws. You can see here.
Yeah,
That's original.
but it's incredible. The upholstery that you do is just unbelievable. I mean, you went through great lengths to work with the company to have this fabric remanufactured. Is that correct?
Yes. Now I have to point this out. All convertibles, cabriolet, they came with vinyl. So this is the difference. 1963, they came monotone.
Oh, really? They're
Yes.
all single color, but the
They're all single
prototype.
color. The prototype is a two-tone.
And you built this car basically off the brochure.
That's correct.
That is
As the pictures I was following, I studied those pictures for 2 years. So, but like I mentioned, they came with, actually in the prototype, it came with vinyl. But the only decision I make by going by cloth, because I live in San Diego,
Right.
and it gets really hot, and I can't stand it. I had vinyls before on my other cars, and I just can't stand it. I don't want the wife either to get burned.
Yeah.
So, especially on convertible, so the cloth for me is like more elegant. I know it's not correct, but I know it's more.
Right. Now, what other things specifically to this car? Can you show me how the top goes up and down?
Yes, of course.
Because this is a fully functioning top.
Have you seen the light? This is an original.
So that light Oh, that's where the dome light is instead
Yes.
of, you have a floor light.
Yes.
That's wild. And that's original convertible. Is that
Yes.
specific for the convertible?
Yes.
Wow.
That was copied from the 63 original convertible.
So you modified a rear trunk one to be the same?
That's correct.
How
Actually, I got it from the top.
from the dome light?
From the dome light. From the dome light from the one that I cut off this. I used the same square and I adapted and just put it there.
And now the mechanism is Type 14 mechanisms,
No,
or
the
different?
mechanism is different. The mechanism, the only closest I can find, it was for Thunderbird.
A Thunderbird?
Yes, because if you look at the roof, it's flat on the top,
Yeah.
and you can't go higher than this. So at Type 14, it goes on angle going down
And pulls it
so
down.
you have more clearance on the top here, and I couldn't go because it would stick up 2 inches from the top. So the closest that I got, not even the Porsche 356 Porsche will work. So
Really?
this is the closest I could have got because I can't be higher than this.
Correct.
And there's no different. All you got to do is just pull it down.
You want me to pull this side?
Yes, go ahead, pull it down.
Good grief, that's a tight top.
Yes.
And then to close it, a big deal to close it? Or it's a little bit of work?
It's just a little bit of work
You have to
because it
finagle
doesn't
it.
have the handle like the 63 has.
Mm-hmm.
63, they put this little handle. It goes here out of
to pull it back?
to pull it down. You know, at the
Interesting.
Type 14, they have a
little poles.
a little pull in the middle.
Yeah.
This one doesn't have it.
The
because
prototype didn't have it.
The 62, we don't know. It's unknown.
Right.
because They don't never show it. But 63, they do have a 2 handle that you put your hands through 2 sections and you pull down. But I couldn't do that part.
Yeah. That's incredible. Can you pull this back a little bit to show us this header bow?
Oh, yes.
And now this, what did it take to modify the top structure? Let's do one.
After my
Hold on.
pictures of the actually interior of the prototype.
Okay, so looking at the upper header bow here on this particular car, most people think the roof structure would kind of have a V angle and it would latch in and kind of have a tongue that goes in there.
That's correct.
But this more has this flat rail that it sits up against, and this is steel or wood here.
This is actually steel.
So this is all made of steel and it's solid.
Yes, that's correct.
Wow.
And
adds a lot of strength to the windshield.
Oh yes, oh yes. Even you know when you hook it, and I seen on the actually 63 prototype, I believe this is plastic. I believe it's plastic. It's just like your like the fabric of the dash.
Right.
It feel here, but I had to find this vinyl with this same texture of my dash to make it work.
And you fabricated all of this?
Yes, that's correct.
So
I actually did this,
it's probably a shorter list. What work did you not do on the car?
the painting,
So you did not do the painting, all the metal work, the body work,
and all the welding I did.
all the welding, all the pan
carpet I
replacements, the carpet?
Yes.
So you did the carpet, you bound the carpet, you did all that
Yes,
stuff.
And all my trunk
You
liners.
made the seats. Now this motor is an early engine. So it's a 1500 single carb.
This motor is a 1964 long block. It's a 1600 cc, and it was built by Ron Smith. But the look-alike is actually a 1962.
Okay.
And if when we go through the engine, you will see the modification I had to do on the tin of the 1962.
To make it.
The 10 of the 1962 has the upgrade of the 1963 10.
Huh.
And there is a what happens inside.
Can we take a look at it?
Yes, of course.
Let's take a
You're not gonna be able to see it, but the tin.
Now latches on the convertible. So now, one of the things we talked about with Lee on a 62 is there's no grill here
That's correct.
on the 62s.
That's correct.
So there's no tabs that screw into anything. And this Volkswagen added later because people would put shop rags or oil or whatever, and it would get sucked into the fan and then cause problems.
That's correct.
And so this, you made this original fabric here
Yes.
for this. And it's all, the spring covers, all that stuff is like
It's
original. That's incredible. And now the motor is, you said there were some modifications on the motor?
There's a modification, and this is a feature of, this is a 1962 feature which you already went through lee hedges. The lid is the same color of the car.
Oh, really?
Yes.
In 62, the lid's not black?
No.
Later, the lids are all black?
Yes, that's correct.
Now these, hold on, I've never seen these before.
That's an early catch.
So earlies had catches, later they just didn't worry about it.
They put a,
rubber,
no, it's like a little cap, like a plastic round cap
on the handle itself.
on just to cover the hole.
That's interesting. Now, is this engine compartment any different than, this deck lid any different than a 63
Well,
and later?
okay, what it is, well, this was my personal thing, is you see the insulation? Well, normally a 62, like lee hedges, they don't came with this insulation.
Right, that was later for heat and stuff like that.
This came for later, but you know, I'm okay with upgrades.
Right, you're about being practical and having the car, not ruining the vinyl inside here.
Yes, yes, and so I did it. I decided doing it. So what happened is, if you look at this tin, this is a 62 only tin.
Now, how can you tell a 62 only 10?
Okay, 63, they have this cutout like this.
For the oil cooler.
If you can tell that on your own engine,
Yeah.
because all after that, they all came like that. Once you see this straight run like this, that means that this is a two-piece oil cooler.
So that's a 62 Type 3 only oil cooler base.
That's
It
correct.
takes a special oil cooler to go with the tin.
That's correct. And there's a two-piece. So this is one piece, and the actually
So
cooler is another piece.
Is it like a 40 horse oil cooler that they use? So were they using bug production stuff to make these parts?
If I compare the 40,
cooler?
the cooler, it's exactly the same except for maybe two little differences. And the differences, if you look on the side,
Right.
there is a bolt.
Yeah, I see it.
Look like my nut came out.
Right.
That is to hold it in place so it won't sag down.
That holds the cooler in place.
That holds the cooler. The upgrade that I did on these originally is still open. So that means that all the air is going through inside from here, is going to your heads. No, it was not separating the cold air with the hot air.
Oh, yeah, I got it.
So here in California, it was getting hot in 20 minutes. So I tore the whole thing apart. Look at the tins that I had before from the 64.
Yeah.
There is a piece of metal that divides the bottom of the cooler,
Right.
keeping the air go through the cooler and get it out
Out of the engine compartment.
out through the side. Remember
Right.
this little?
Yep.
Okay. And the coal goes, that little metal
Right.
goes underneath and comes down and goes to the bottom. So there's a divider where your hot air, you want to go out, not to stay in the car.
Right. You don't want to preheat the air that's going to the cylinders. You're just,
That's correct. This is blocking it.
but you're saying that was an original design flaw that they had in the 62 models.
Yes.
So there was a prototype overheating issue in warm climates, probably because of this.
This one came since Type 3, 1961.
Really?
This is how they came. But like I mentioned, you know, we're here on the hot area,
it's
and
where
that
it's warm.
doesn't work. So most of these, I did a few 62s, the same what I did here. I even did a post in Samba, show you how to do it and what's the difference. And I did a couple of these. A couple of these 62.
Makes
I
a
did it
big
myself.
difference. Yeah.
Oh yes, of course. This is the only way you can tell. You can't combine. You can't combine this cooler if you don't have the 10.
And this is an early carburetor on here.
This
you were
is
telling
an
me.
early carburetor. This is a PHN.
Okay.
That's the first one that came out.
And this carburetor was the least economical, most powerful.
Yes.
So it give you the most power as the early model, and then as they started to get better fuel mileage to sell the car, they leaned the carburetor out so it was more fuel efficient.
Yes.
Interesting. And this motor is a 1600, so it's built up a little bit bigger, so you get a little more cruising power in this thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I'm happy with it, but you see it's a 62 lookalike. Another piece about here is this. The early 62 here, you see the one with the thermostat?
Yeah.
Okay, the early 62 didn't came with it. It came just a block.
Interesting.
And when I had that block before, because I wanted to go as early as I can,
Right.
it was heating up my manifold. It was evaporating the gas before it gets to the head. And then I had to go upgrade to 63 because this will shut down, will close
So it
the
closes
heat
closes the heat risers.
in 5 minutes.
It's one of the fixes Volkswagen did through the evolution of the production of the car.
Yes.
So the top, which is an enormous amount of work. Now, when you made the top, people are going to wonder how you made the top.
Okay, let's put it this way. Once I saw the pictures of the convertible,
Mm-hmm.
I saw that design. I saw that window round, that radius
On the window.
on the window, and go, I seen this radius before. So the first thing I did, I went to Samba and I saw the Type 14. You go, look at that. That is the same. I'm looking, I'm just put the two pictures right next to each other and say, this is the what I need.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at it and say, I can do this. So that's when I actually committed of going with the car. But let me just go back just a little bit how
Sure.
I went to commit to this. What happened is before, nobody knew about the convertibles. They were hiding these pictures of the owners, right? So you didn't know about it at all. And then I go, okay, I'm gonna do my convertible. So I was engineering all this how I'm gonna do it. So I went back to the Type 14, how they did it, and I was gonna go by all the specification of all the strength of the body.
Yeah.
And I was gonna recopy same thing what they did on the Type 14. So here I am looking for Samba, all these extra bars that goes
supports and all
underneath
the
and
stuff, yeah.
support. So I was maybe 5 minutes to press all this stuff from Kamann Ghia to buy all this
So you're
supports
getting ready,
and
you had it all in
metal.
your shopping cart ready to buy it all.
Before I did that, I got this message.
Yeah.
And the message was they were restoring a pearl white 63 convertible Type 34.
Oh, really?
And they posted pictures.
Of the whole car underneath, everything.
Open. They already stripped the car. That is, and I have all those pictures. That's when I look all the inside. You can see
You saw all the structural supports.
everything underneath, even under
Underneath
pan,
the pan pieces.
because they show the picture of the
Right.
pan. And I go, okay, so I didn't click that order now.
Yeah. You would have had a bunch of the wrong metal. So now you had to custom fabricate all those pieces yourself?
I did it all myself. I copied every single metal that all the 63 Cabriolets has. But I add one more, that was my personal one.
Which one's that?
And the one that I added on that nobody figured out or something I just wanted to add on. There is a 4-inch bar. If you look at it here,
Yeah.
this bar is 3/16 of an inch by 4 inches. This is a one-piece bar that goes from here all the way around to the other side.
Oh, to strengthen the body?
Yes, this is one piece.
Wow.
We had to slide it down. Jack Fisher was helping me, and we were having fun.
That's a lot of work.
So we cut it in place, and it's just one bar, all the way across.
That's going to be a heavy piece of steel.
It is. It is
Yeah.
a heavy piece
But
of
it keeps
steel.
the body from
Yes.
accordioning in.
Yes, and there's another connection that I couldn't do that the actually prototype has.
Oh, really?
Because they had to fix some rust on the side, and I saw the picture. So they So the manufacturer, they add another layer of metal, like a panel.
Right, like a second layer inside.
Like a second layer. So I said, no, the layer, I don't like it. So I improved my something better than that. I went a 4-inch by 3-inch L bracket, 316 by 4 inches wide. And it's an L bracket. It goes from here across and go up.
To stiffen the doors up?
And you can probably see it from here maybe, but it's one of these up here. You can't really see it, but it goes down and goes across.
Yeah.
I can lift this car with the doors open.
And it doesn't
And I
throw
can
off.
still shut it.
Really?
Yes, I done it already.
Now, of course, this is, for those of you guys that don't, that is a 1962 badge only.
That's correct.
And then he copied in the brochures with the Kamann convertible, it had the front Kamann plate on there. So you had a tribute plate made for that.
Yes, the guy that does these is in Europe, and they do these, but they put all the letters together. And I go and look, let me show you a picture. This is what I want. I want your same script, but you need to space it as my picture. And I say, we never done that, but we can do it for you.
Now let's go ahead and open this up. And you've made all the interior panels inside here, all the vinyl pieces, all of this. Now, did they reproduce this, or did you track someone down and have them make this like SMS Fabrics?
No, SMS Fabrics have these, and they recall SMS. Actually, they actually recall that when they were selling these, they were actually NOS.
Really?
Yes. And how you can tell? Look at this. Look at the back.
Oh, like a felt backing on it?
Yes. So once they ran out, they did it again, but now it doesn't have.
So from the factory, this is glued up to the front tray.
Yes.
And it kind of holds it back. Another way of keeping it together. And
yes. Yes, that's correct. So there is another piece here. This is original. Is this black? You see this?
Yeah, so that's like a tar board, huh?
Yes, and that is so you don't mess up with your.
So you don't see the corrugations of the gas tank in your vinyl fabric over time.
That's correct. And the 62 only, it came with one color front.
So when you say one color front, this would normally be black?
This would have been black.
So
for
that's
63.
body match colored. That's body match colored. So if you guys are out there looking at those things in someone's backyard and you see that, that's how that goes. And then you've got your Bilstein jack here. Is that right? Is that what you have in there?
Yes. Yes.
And then that's the way so if you guys are wondering how the jack goes stock. And factory, they put a little piece of fabric across the front of the metal.
Yes, it's part of the carpet, yes. The same color.
Part of the carpet
the
to
same,
match.
Yes.
Yeah, this is probably one of the most accurate restorations that you would say is out there. I mean, as accurate as you can get. If there was anything you were missing, you hunted it down to get the answer. And you used your best guess if you had something you were unclear on. Is that correct?
Should I say a book on wheels?
Right.
Like for people that never seen or heard about the prototype 1962, you can actually see it in person.
Right.
What would it look like? But my work is as the closest that I could by pictures.
Right. No, I mean, you've done an incredible job on this car. I mean, I don't know who has the patience. And how long from the time you got the body after COVID until the car was on the road was how long?
I believe it was a year and a half.
A year and a half, and you did everything on here except for the paint.
Yes, that's.
Yeah. Well, this is an incredible car. I'm glad for the sake of history that you've reproduced this car as accurately and specific as possible. And we'll probably maybe take it out for a spin if we get a chance, right?
Yeah, that's correct.
I love it. It's great. Great. Listen, Pedro, great job. And there's more to hear on your podcast because we're going to talk about all your history.
All right.
All right. Thanks.
Okay.
Hey, thanks guys for watching. If you like this video about Pedro's Type 34 prototype recreation, go ahead and like it. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. And if you'd like to see more stuff like this, leave a comment down below. What question do you think I didn't ask, or what question would you have asked if you were there? And what's your thoughts on creating a prototype that was once around but is no longer? Going to the painstaking detail of making sure you've got every single thing lined out and building the whole thing from pictures. So check it out. Don't forget, every week Let's Talk Dubs on all your favorite podcast platforms. Go ahead and subscribe there and make sure you never miss an episode. Till next week, guys. Later.